Good morning, Rabbi. Good morning, Chevra.
Good morning, Zajac.
Good morning. Good morning. Just have machines this over here. Try again. Nachamol. Oh, good morning. With the help of Hashem, we are learning today's 3 prakim Rambam, Hilchos, Niske Mamen, prakim Tes, Yud, and Yud Aleph. Starting with Pedig Tes. Pedig Tes begins with the halacha of a behemoth that's pregnant that either did the damage. Don't forget that if she was a tam, then whenever the owner is chayv, it's migufay. The migufay is from the mother or mother and fetus. Same thing. If it got damaged, we're going to see the unique halachas concerning dafka the behemoth meuberes. Now, we're going to have many cases in this chapter where 1 out of 2 oxen did the damage. We don't know which one. There's a suffix. There's going to be many different types of svekes, including there's going to be scenarios that because of the doubt, even though vadai, one of the oxen damaged, there won't be any chiyuv at all. We're going to learn another phenomenal then, based on the rule that tam has to get its payment from the goof of the animal. That if an animal damaged, let's say nizik number 1, tam, then that animal damaged again, the nizik number 1 has a certain part of ownership in the animal. So to a certain degree, he'll be chayv to pay for the damages. Oy gewalt. I just want to give a quick throwback. I know when we learned yesterday, Pedig Tes, I think it was halacha gimel, over there in the case of the animal that damaged a shoyd of shlomim. Shoyd of shlomim that did the damage. I'm not going to repeat the whole halacha. We got a little bit stuck over there. That remember that even though that the chatzi nezek was a dinar, and the basar part of the animal is worth a dinar and a half. In a certain scenario, the nizak won't even get the dinner. He's going to get 3/4 of the dinner because some of the animal that did the damage was the emurim part of the animal. It's similar we're going to have in this chapter. In other words, if I got damaged and therefore I get to collect my chatzi nezek migufa of your animal, I have a certain ownership in it. Now, if it damages again, I have a certain partnership in the damage. As we're going to see, we're going to have formulas. What happens when 2 animals damage each other? I'm sure this is a common thing. Each one damaged the other. So how do you make payments over here? And many other fantastic scenarios, all packaged in Pedig Tes. Pedig Tes, without any further ado, has 14 halachas, beginning with halacha aleph zok the Rambam. It did damage while it was already pregnant. Yes, the din is goiva chatzi nezek mimenu umivlada, because we consider the fetus as part of its body. So I want to just give you an example what that means. Let's say that by the time the nizak came to collect Ovi, the mother animal is not there. It gave birth and it's not there. Then it could collect all of the chatzi nezek just from the vlad. The vlad is a partner in the damage. That is only by an animal. In other words, the baby is developing within the womb of the mother. In contrast, why? It's separate and distinct. I'll give you a good crossover. Similar halacha. When you eat the vlad, you become fleishiks. When you eat an egg, you remain parav. Halacha base. Muberes and Akha. Weiter, the Muberes is the one that did the goring. Now, when we find the uvenimtza vlada b'tzidam, ve'ein yodua im atshu lo nakcha yolda oy achash nakcha yolda. In other words, now that we established that if the damager, the mazik, would have been pregnant, then the fetus is the damager. We don't know now. So the then is Safek Shalim Chatzi Nezek only from the part of the inner goyim in Avalad Klum Achi Yaviraya Shebeshoshanak Chamil Beresvaisa because of the klal Shamaitzi Mechavere Olavaraya. Now let's flip it. Not that the mazik was the meuberes. Shoyer shenagach para meuberes. Now the nizak was the pregnant cow. Now 1 second. Who cares that she was pregnant? I'll tell you why. Because after the goring happens, we didn't see her status when it got gored. We knew she was pregnant. There's Adam. We learned yesterday. You have Adam. But afterwards, at some point, in other words, it miscarried, stillborn. What's the Shaila Dovi? Did my shoyd make your animal miscarry? Or maybe it had a miscarriage. And then my shoyd was gored your postpartum para. So Mishalim Nezek Hapara, whether it's Tam, whether it's Muad, the Eda Mishalim Nezek Havlad, again, because of the call, there's a doubt. We don't know. When we know that is what happened, so let's say I'm the mazik, my shirt was mazik, your pregnant cow, and it caused your cow to have a stillborn. So like this. Right, we don't say, okay, how much is the cow worth while it's alive? How much is the carcass worth just of the mother? We don't evaluate only the Vlad by herself. How much would a Vlad be worth if it would have been alive? How much is it worth now that it's a carcass? We don't make that cheshbon. Elam, we make the cheshbon of everything together. Kama hoisa hapada shava. And now the mother and the nafel. And by the way, when you cheshbon everything all together, it's like wholesale. The difference will be of a lesser amount, and for that you pay the difference. Whether the animal was a tam, you pay half of the difference, or and if my animal, the mazik, was a muat, it pays all of the difference. But remember, even by a muat, as we learned yesterday, shaman l'nizakim means that the carcass remains with the nizak, and then I have to pay the difference. Halacha, hey, let's make it more exciting. The cow belonged to one person, the vlad belonged to another person, which, by the way, is completely normal. An owner of a cow has the rights, halachic rights, to sell the calf before the calf is born, which is the case. So there are two owners here, the owner of the mother, the owner of the fetus. Now, here's the word. You know, a cow is fatter when it's pregnant. Fat, not Tafshan Pei Gimel in the Meshuggah world that we live in. Fat in the world of Torah is Gavaldik. Fat, you look fatter, you look better, you have more value. So there is a loss of fat that goes exclusively Labal Hapara. Even though you can argue, Dovi, that the animal was fat, maybe also because of the fetus. It could be. But the fact that the cow is not as fat, that's a loss only to the owner of the product. Upchas hanefel. Now I know that there are different girses. The Chayenu writes upchas hanefel. I can tell you that in the Rambam I have at home, it says upchas hanapachas. All right. And that means the cow's bulk. That's interesting. There's fat and there's bulk. Ich bin nicht der Maven. Some people here, you know, there's this cholent and that cholent. I don't know how you make the difference, but that is cholkin. The less of that, balapara im bal havlad. The nafil loss of value, that's only to the bal havlad. In other words, there's something about the bulk, let's use these words, in the cow, in which we say that both, there's a benefit in that, both by the owner of the lot and the owner, and that loss is divided equally. So he's saying, he's reading from the Rambam La'am, that fat, we know, fat is fat. That is just a lot of trouble. Then there is that the limbs look bigger. It's like buff, but it's a fake buff. But that is something that we actually consider the owner of the fetus to be an owner in. Dovi, it's the bulk of the mama. Doesn't matter. Okay, weiter. Halacha va. Let's go. One shoy is chasing the other, and vuhuzak. And hanizak oimer shoy chayizik. V'zeh oimer, and the owner of the alleged mazik says, I don't know. I know my animal was chasing yours. We all saw that. But maybe when your animal was running away, your animal get knocked in the cellar. How do I know that it was my animal? Now, by the way, many times in halacha, body vishama, body other, not over here. It's the owner of the maybe mazik is saying, I don't know. Doesn't matter. That's a chiddush. And the mazik, the alleged, the potential mazik says, I don't know. Body v'shama, body other, not to go out of the chazaka. Now let's go further. Not only do I know that your animal damaged mine, I know that you know. Now we're going to be learning not that long from now all of the laws of shvuos. When in a din Torah is one person going to be chayiv to swear? One of the shvuos is called the shvuos Hesses, which is a shvuah that was founded bisman chachmei of the Amoraim, and they said that even when a person is kofer hakol al pidin Torah, it's not one of the shloisha biblical oaths. We're going to get there. Don't worry. You have to swear. Now that's already called a kofer hakol because any day is not a kofer hakol. But when you're telling me that I know something, and I'm saying I don't. So it's not only that I'm saying I don't know whether my ox, I'm denying that I know. How great is that? But when do we say that? Only if, when am I chayiv to make that such an oath? Only if my animal is already a muad. Right? If my animal is only a tam, even though you're telling me that I know, I'm denying that I know. Why? Because you have to know the dinam of shvuos. Unlike Suroiros, which is the exception, but the general rule is Chatzi Nezek is a knas, as we learned in the beginning of Niske Moment. Moide beknas is potter. And that's the cloud by shvuos. That you're telling me I know something. I'm denying. What would have happened if I would have admitted? If I would have admitted, I anyways would have been potter, because Chatzi Knas is Nezek and Moide beknas potter. So even though I'm denying, I'm not chayiv shvuos essence. Shachatzi knas knas Moide beknas potter. These are gavaldic rules that we're going to come back when we learn all of the laws of shvuos.
How is anyone ever chayiv Chatzi Nezek? How is someone chayiv Nezek?
Aiden, that's what we learned yesterday. No, that's very important. In other words, remember, Chatzi Nezek, even if I'm Moide, I won't be chayiv. Halach is zayin. Let me add another detail to that. What did we learn yesterday? Also, the big chiddush that if I do a shmira kara'ui, you know that I'm still chayiv for Chatzi Nezek. It's like awesome. The idea when my animal is a muad mitchilasi shein v'regel, shmira kara'us complete exempt. It's like a knastis. If I'm moed, I'm pot. Okay, halacha zay. Now, a person whose ox damaged. In the following case, when there were two oxen, guys halk up into tzvei shoyrim, two are running after one, bullies. And all the witnesses saw one of them did the damage, but the Edom don't know Ezu Mishneim. In other words, the machlekas here is not in between. The nizak is getting money. There's a machlekas between the two owners of the oxen. Each one is saying, "Your one did it." You know what? Shnei pturim. However, the Edom saw that one of these oxen damaged, and they belong to one person. Then now let's go. If it's a muad, there's nothing to talk about. What happens if it's a tam? Why would what's the issue with a tam? You only get payment migufay. Question is, which one is migufay? Let's say the damage was worth 200 after you deduct the carcass. Now, for which a balatam has to pay 100. Very nice. What happens if one of the animals are not worth 100? One is worth 100, one is not worth 100. Now you have to know which animal was the one that was a mazik. So chayiv l'shalem migufa pochus sheb'shneim anachanam. Because of mitzvah mechaveri. Now, if they were ma'adim, there's nothing to talk about. I don't even care which one did the damage because they're mishalom nezek shalom inachasa. We're going menakal ala kovid. Now let's go weiter. That if both oxen belong to the same owner, then he's vaday chayiv to pay, if anything, by a tam from the smaller animal, but chayiv is chayiv. That's only if both oxen are here. But either one died or one of them got lost. Now, put on your thinking hat. We don't know which one of them. Why? Because the owner of the oxen tells the nizak, and then I'm going to pay for you. In other words, guys, we're speaking about Tam. Tam, you get the payment, migufay. If the ox is not present, remember that. Even though it's known that my ox did the damage, if the ox, the Tam, is not present, you don't have how to get payment. So weiter. So now we have a suffix. Maybe it was the ox that was here. Maybe it was the ox that died. Maybe it was the ox that got lost. So I don't have to pay. Halacha 9. Oh, yo, guy, we're going by the two shvarim. Again, just if you're jumping in right now, both oxen belong to the same owner. That's key here. And they're running after someone else's ox, someone else's property. These two oxen, echad gadol ve'echad katan. Hanizak oimed gadol hizik. What's the mile of nizik? Because by a tam, he has to get chazik, only chatzi, but megufay. Better it should be the gadol. We'll get all of the chatzi nezik. The mazik says katan hizik. Echad hayatam, the echad muad, or another scenario. Two oxen belong to the same owner. One is a tam, one is a muad. You're clear, right? The nizik says the muad, I want to get nezik shalit. Hanizik I muad hizik. The mazik I made tam hizik. Hamayt semechavedi all over ayam. Now let's go right. Halacha yud. Loy hoya shamraya berura shezay hizik elam elam idem sheechad mishne elu hizik. Guys, I want you just to point out that in Halacha Yud Aleph, we're also going to have the clause that begins with the words Lo Yechoyer Shomraya Berura. But this one is not like that one. I know you didn't learn that one yet. Here, Raya Berura means that you had Adam. You don't have a Raya Berura. The case that when Adam saw, but they don't know exactly which one did it, that's the case over here. Very importantly, here you had Adam. Mishalim Hamazik Kamoisha Amar. What's Pshat? That he pays the lesser amount. In other words, because of Hamitzim all of Arayah. However, what are we building up to? The implain on Nizak. Same thing. The Nizak tells the Mazik, Sha'ato Yedeya Vadai, you're saying that it's the Tam, yeah? Hello, I know that you know that your Mu'ah did it. He's saying it was the Tam. Right? Now here, unlike we had before, if the Mazik who's claiming that it was the Tam, if he would be moide to this accusation, that what? That it was a mu'at you pay al piyatzman. That's a nishba heses. Oh, I'm sorry, take it back. Not even, no, here he has to make a shvua doiraisa because he's saying the Tam did it. Means he's owning part claim, half. You're saying that I know vadai, that it was a mu'at. She's not only would, if I would be moide, I would pay more, it's worse. Here, I'm a bona fide moedim b'mitzvahs, which is one of the three shvuos d'iraisa. Hari amazik nishma shvuos atoydo mishalom k'mishoyda shaharei hoedim b'mitzvahs. Great. Now, 1 second. Halacha yudal. It's going to get even greater. Ho yani zokim shnayim. So now, guys, halka. You have two people here. You have three people here. You have a mazik. The Rambam begins with 4 people. You have a big shoyd, a small shoyd. You see a tam and a muad. One belongs to the Uva, one belongs to Shimon. They went chasing Levi and Yehuda's oxen. 2 maziks, 2 niziks. Hoy and Izak Mishnayim, but they're not the same. Echad gadol, echad katan. That means if they were tam, let's say only the bigger animal would cover the chatzi nezik. The little guy, the littler animal, smaller animal, will end up paying less. And you have hamazikim shnayim. I'm sorry, gadol means a bigger damage. And the mazikim ashnaim, that's what I hear. Echad gadol v'echad katan. Now, 1 second, who cares about gadol or katan? I'll tell you. Because if the katan got damaged, if it got damaged from the gadol, same thing. It's a lesser damage, is easier to collect migufay. If the gadol's nizak got damaged from the mazik's katan, that's where he'll get the least amount of money. Not only is it chatzi, but even from the chatzi. So that's everyone is claiming ba'oifen that it's advantageous to them. Okay, so let's go. The Nizek says, Gadol Hizek es HaGadol, the Katan Hizek es HaKatan. And by the way, if that case would be, most of the damage, if not all of the damage, would get paid. The Mazik says, Loi, Ella, the Katan was Mazik to Gadol, which means for that to pay very little. Not only Chatzi of the Gadol, but the Megufay won't even cover it. And the Gadol Hizek es HaKatan. Oi, Shehoya Echatan ve'echad muad, same concept. So the Nizek, like you want to get paid the most money. The Nizek is saying, no, the more damage the Gadol, at least it's a lot more money. The one that anyways is a smaller damage, getting half of a little is a lot better than getting half of a lot. You understand? Getting only half of a lot is a lesser is less. In all of these cases, now 1 second. I wanted to point this out, which means you don't even have Adam. Unlike in Halacha Yud, where the Rambam writes, you had Adam that one did damage. Here, there was no Raya. Listen to this, the Mazik is spotter. The Mazik is spotter. The Mazik doimer. The Toin is Chaver Chitim. And V'hoidoloi B'so'edim. You know what the halacha is? You'll think like this. If I'm telling you, you owe me Chitim, and you admit that you owe So'edim. You admit that you owe So'edim. You don't have to. You don't have to give anything. Why don't you give anything? Because guys, we're going to learn this then later. If I'm telling you you owe me chitim, not so'edim, I'm saying you don't owe me so'edim. You're not going to pay me so'edim. Because the toiveya is basically saying no, not so'edim. The one that's moida is koifer hakol on what he's being asked. It's not called moida b'mixas. I'm saying you owe me one type. When you're moida on another type, you're denying the type that I'm asking. For that, shua says, and you don't pay anything. So let's bring it back over here. I know since the rule is after the mesa item, you don't come issues bar b'lechas tayin. So over here, what's going on over here? I'm saying that one type of animal did the hezek. I'm saying I know it was the gadol and the nizik. You're saying it was the cotton. You won't even pay that. Because when I'm saying it was the gadol, I'm saying it was not your cotton. I don't have rights to chatzi of your cotton. I'm saying it was the gadol. You're a koifer hakol regarding the gadol. If you're koifer hakol, not a moedim makes us.
And if he doesn't take the oath?
That's something else. We'll learn over there by the oaths. It's when you have Adam that something happened. That's in the end of Halacha Yud. There we don't say that. We don't know which one. That's called the moedim makes us. Because you can't say Patr v'lo klum because Adam saw that something happened. Here, everything is coming from their own admission. Well, now.
The Nizek can't come around and say, oh, okay.
Oh, so that's the whole day. So Rabbi Chaim is asking, we're going to learn this very much later. These are very big questions. Can you change your testimony in court? These are big questions. When can you do that? When can you not do that? Can Adam, like Kivin Shehigit Shuvan Achayzer Magid, you have witnesses. Generally, once I make a claim in the court, I cannot change my claim. It's too late. Because it shmeks of sheker. Now that I saw, I didn't chap over here, the taka. This idea that Ta'ana b'chitim v'hoida b'su'edim, after Mei Su'edim, you don't pay. When you hear the din, you say, wow, that makes a lot of sense. But people don't get there on their own. He realized to fast the meruba, not only are you not getting the meruba, you're getting any. You're changing your claim. It doesn't shmek like you're saying the emes. The Nizek did not begin with a doubt. The Nizek is saying, I know which one did it. The other guy says, I know it was the other one. That's what we're talking about. Now, the im tafas Nizek. Hareze mishtalem lekoten min agadol v'lagadol min akoten. It's the most. First of all, he cannot. If he chapped, he cannot chap his taina. He could chap what the other one was claiming, which was the less, but at least he'll get it post facto. This is Gavaldik. Now, hello, wake up over here. It's good. Shoir, I need a smile. Shoir shenagach. Now, this is the final topic of this chapter. Oh, amazing. Guys, remember, Tam Mishalem Megufay. So if my shoy, Reuven shoy Neugech's Shimon's property. I don't even care what. And it was Reuven's shoy was a tam. We view Shimon to be a partner in Reuven because he's going to collect it migufen. Once he's a partner, if this animal damages Levi, Shimon is partially responsible. Like punish the victim. He's not only did he get a kanak, now he's noch am Mazer koichet zu dazu. So what does the Torah say? The Nizakrishan that I get Reuven and Nizakrishan, Shimon, the first guy that already got damaged together with Reuven are shooting by Oigevald. Because because he has a shear in the animal. As a chelik. Ketzad, let's go to numbers. Shoy Shavah Masayim, Shenagach Shoy Acher Shavah Masayim. The Rambam doesn't want to get into the nuance of what we learned yesterday, that you're Shaman bin Ezekin. Just want to give rounder numbers. Let's say the carcass is worth nothing in such a case. Bottom line is, Reuven damaged Shimon, value 200. Tam, he has to pay 100. So the din is, now the shoy of the mazik is worth 200. He made a damage of 200, but for which the Torah is machayv him to pay. He's just giving a simple case where it comes out that the mazik rishon, the ba'alim, and the nizik rishon equally own the animal, 100. Ubala sharmei. So now, instead of him getting payment right away, till he got payment, this mazik, this Reuven's behema, went ahead and it gored Levi's behema. Again, just giving round numbers. The second animal is still a tam. Was also worth 200. But and in the case where the nevel is worth nothing, which means that the damaged party should get how much? 100. Now everyone is getting paid. Migufay. How much is the gufay worth? 200. So what's going to happen is, let me say it by heart, is that the last victim is going to get 100. How much is left over from the value now? 100. That 100 is divided into half. So the first guy, the Nizik Rishon, should have gotten 100. You didn't go, and your partner now.
Why are we punishing? He has to cash in quicker.
Cash in quicker. Guard the animal. Guard the animal. What you have to know that Tam Mishala Migufay. Now I have stake in it. Okay. Very good. Now the Rambam goes further. Just he wants to make sure you get the formula here. Now what happens if Chazer v'Nagach Shoyd Acher Shavah Masayim, all Reuven Azab Behema, Reuven now gored the Shoyd of Yehuda. And again, he's just giving these numbers to make it simple. And again, the Ein Anaveli Yafa Klum. So let's go back. The same thing. So Yehuda's behema was worth 200. He gets 100. How much is left? 100. How many people do we have left? We have Levi and Shimon. I'm going to tell you by heart. Levi is going to get 50. Shimon is going to get 25. Okay? The big meyuches. He was the first nizar, the b'chor. They each one will only get 25. And that's the formula. So that's why, very good. So you have to gore 3 times to become a muad. That's what the Rambam passes. That's why the Rambam is not going to go further. Halacha Yudimo. So what's the if when someone comes to the Rambam shir and he learns halacha yud beis, that's what Dovi was saying. So what should he have done? Now he knows. Now he learned. What do? Some animal damages you, chop the animal. Now you have a new issue. You have to be guarded. Now, what level of shmira are you mechuyev to do? You're not a shomer chinam, it's a shomer sacher. Nasol a shomer sacher in the zakel. Why are you a shomer sacher? Because why did you chop the animal? Because you want to get payment from it. Just a shomer sacher. And now, which means that ve'im yotza ve'zika. Now that you're a shomer sacha, what did we learn? I don't know if it was yesterday or 2 days ago, that a shomer is in the place of the balam. Now damages, the nizak rishon is chayv in isokel, and the owners are pater. Gets even better. Because he's a shomer sacha. People are very happy with these halachas. Ketzah, let's go. Shorish of Mosayim. Shanogach, hifsid Mosayim. Again, hifsid. The carcass was worth, I don't care, 200. So now nizak rishon, how much ownership does he have? Only 100. But he knows already, I'm not going to do nothing, because if this animal damages, I'm going to lose my 100. I'm going to have to give for my 100. So the top say and then now he didn't guard it. The chazav v'nogach v'hifsid b'meya v'arboyim. Now this is the numbers, guy. If this animal did a damage of meya, first of all, the animal is a tam. So from this meya v'arboyim, how much has to get paid? Guys, halkot. Very good, 70. How much does he own? 100. So what's going to happen? Get 70. But from whose does he eat up? Only from the nizak rishon. Which means that the nizak rishon, right, will only be, guys, mishtalim is very received. Mishtalim. He'll only receive moisa nizkai, which is 30. The original owners, I know he lost by the fact that his animal was mazik the nizak rishon. He lost half. But he doesn't lose anything from the next one. Masha Enkin and Halacha Yud Beis, as the damage done, the owner also share went down. It went down, remember, from 100 to 50 to 25. Here it doesn't go down at all. And now the final halacha, wow, it's late. You got to go quicker. Shnei Shavarim Tamim, also simple, but you have to speak it out. If two animals were fighting with each other and they were mazik each other, so what do? No, what you do is that you deduct how much was the damage here? How much was the damage there? How much is everyone chayiv? And if one side is owing more, that is paid. Only that is paid. You don't say you pay you and you pay you and no. Make the cheshbon and see the moisa. Mishalman b'moitzer. Now, guys, we're speaking about tamim chatzi nezek. No, what's the difference in value? What's the difference in value? Like if I damaged 100 and you damaged me 70, then the damage was 30. If I'm not mistaken, I pay half of that. Because my animal was a tam. Let's read it inside. Guys, the Rambam's going to give a few halachas, and then at the end of the halacha, he's going to give numbers. Or now, if both were ma'adim, or one animal is a muad, and the muad was going in Adam, guys, remember, Adam muad lo stop. So my ox is trying to knack you. You're fighting back. The end was my ox hurt you, God forbid, and you hurt my ox. Well deserved, but there was damage. Now, can I protect myself by ruining your property? I should protect myself, but I'm going to be high for the property. We're going to learn those dinim later. In other words, you have the right to fight back, but it doesn't mean you are pater. Also, so now each one has to pay the full damage. You deduct one against the other. Mishalmin b'moisen nezek shalom. The Rambam is going to give numbers. The final halacha, and again, everything will be then translated to numbers. That if one was a tam, one was a muad. Muad b'tam has to pay b'moisen nezek shalom. Tam b'muad mishalom b'moisen chatzi nezek. And now let's go. Ketzah. So let's give numbers. Let's go to the first case in halacha Yud Aleph. Right, guys? Two animals were tamim. Shor tam shehifsid b'shor tam. Acher. Shava meya. Now, guys, when I say shava meya, how much does he owe? It's not clear. If he did a damage worth 100, yakir. If it's a tam, he owes 50. But then shavim arboyim, not the same number. How much does he have to pay from that? 20. If that would be the only act. Means I'm chayiv to pay you 50. You're chayiv to pay me 20. So we make one psak din. I should pay you 30. That's the point. There's a chiddush here. Many times in a din Torah, you notice why are people fighting? Because let's say I'm not paying you something. In a beis din, if I'll be honest, I'll say I taka owe you, but you owe me something else. Most people that are honest, they don't stam ganda. They make their own dinim. They deduct. Normally, you can't do that, but not in this case. There, they were fighting each other, so it becomes one din Torah. So it's one case, and whichever one owes more, he pays. In the case of tam half. Let's apply this by muad. So again, guys, the same numbers. The Rambam is going to make things easy. So Reuven did damage in Shimon worth 100. If he's more, he has to pay 100. Shimon did damage in Reuven. His case was 40, which means how much is there's a surplus? 60. Okay, you got it. Now the Rambam will give numbers to the last case in Yudalit, which is the first one was a muad. Means Reuven's animal is a muad, and he was mazik 100. He has to pay 100. The Achroin, Shimon animal that damaged back Reuven's was a tam. He damaged, we said 40, which means how much does he have to pay from that? 20. So you deduct the 20. Okay, good. Now, Harishan tam for Achron muad, then the opposite. So again, if the Rishon is tam, he did a damage of 100, how much does he have to pay? 50. I have to pay you 50. Your animal damaged mine 40, but you're a muad 40. So I have to pay you 10. Okay, we're moving on to Perikut. Perikut is going to start a topic that will continue also in today's Perikut Aleph. The Torah says that if an animal kills a person, we'll see exceptions generally, two things. Aleph, the animal has to be stoned to death. We're going to learn in Sanhedrin, there has to be a Sanhedrin of 23. It's interesting how we have to have a real serious procedure prior to killing the animal. But the din is, if all of the procedures are followed, the animal has to be niskal. Another din. If, let's say it was my animal that already did it 3 times, we'll define better the 3 times, that not only is the animal niskal, but these psukim in Parshas Mishpatim, the Torah says the words, Vigam ba'olav yumas. Wow. And from Torah Shabbat Peh, we understand the Gamba all of you must never meant in a based in Shalmata. Gamba all of you must means the Misa B'dei Shamayim. And then the next pasuk writes the Im Koifer Yushas all of the Nasan Pidyonav. That if the guy to get out of his yumas wants to pay atonement money, he can pay atonement money and he won't be chayv the Misa B'dei Shamayim. And there's a machlokes between the Chachamim and Rabbi Shmuel ben Oishel, Rabbi Rechem ben Broika. I remember this clearly because I remember Rabbi Leib, may be gesund, giving shiurim on this. I can share some of it. It will be time beautiful. The Meimazik, the main Nizik. That will be next chapter. The Meimazik, the main Nizik. First, just begin with the principle. If a shark kills a person, the animal has to be put to death. On top of that, there's a case of koifer. Now, the Rambam is going to give exceptions. There will be times that an animal kills, there'll be a chiyuv of koifer, and the animal won't be niskal. And there are times that even though the animal is niskal, even though it happened, the more there won't be a din of koifer. That's going to be more or less be the content of Perikut.
How many witnesses? Would
you have to have the 2 witnesses, but the first time you have to get used to it, that even though money cases could be tried in a basin of 3, we have to try the animal in a basin of 23 at least. But the witnesses are the same. But the dinim of Chakir and Drisha, all of the rules of Misas Adam apply. The Rambam doesn't write this today. Maybe he's going to write it later. Maybe he's going to write it later in Hilchos Sanhedrin. Okay, the Rambam is going to write it later. I don't think it's going to be written over here. The procedure of the basin, that's not the topic. The topic is what's the chiyuv. Perek Yud, halacha Allah. Shoyer shehei misasa adam b'chol makim. B'chol makim means whether it killed a gadol, whether it killed a cotton, whether it killed an eved, whether it killed a ben chayrin. And you're going to jump, I'll show you that kills a person, there's a din of knas, we're going to get there. But first, the rule number 1 is, and whether the animal was a tam, whether it was a muad. The klal is the animal has to be stoned to death. In the base, there's one exception, that if an animal killed a goy, the animal is not going to be stoned to death. But like we learned yesterday, because there's another klal, that when the goyim, this is when the dinei hagoyim would be by them, that if their animal killed a person, their animal is not niskal. So that's why pater kidineim. Okay, halacha base. The echad, and you should know that whenever there were trials against Yidden that we don't consider the big anti-Semitic trials, these dinim were always brought in Dreyfus's trial, because it can be misunderstood. You see, we don't value their life. It's not true. There's a klal, makes sense. Kidineim. Okay, halacha base. The echad ashor be'echad shar be'ema chai v'oiv shemisa. Even though the Torah uses the case of a shor, it doesn't mean a shor. It can be any chai. Remember, the Gemara says a story. The Rachman al-Islan of a little bird that pecked the moyach, the place on the skull that's soft by a baby. Shayach. Doesn't matter how big the animal was. If it killed a person, hareel in the skull. Now hold on. Ben tam ben muad, yes. Is there a difference? Yes. Ben tam shahareg es adam lemuad shahareg. I'll tell you the difference. That if it's a tam, the animal didn't do it 3 times yet. The only punishment, guys, is niskal. But the din of koifer that we're going to speak a little bit in this Pedic, more next Pedic, it's called atonement money. Bal hashor, you must. Ve'im koifer, yushasalav, there's no din of koifer. If the animal is already a muad, then chayiv ba koifer. However, what shat muad, ubelvad sheyia muad laharoig. Muad means, if my animal is a muad to do negicha, he's not a muad for the din of koifer. Muad means my animal killed 3 times. And by the way, killing doesn't mean a human being. Here it means if my animal killed even 3 animals previously, he's a muad to kill. And now if he killed a person, I'm chayiv koifer. Now, the Rambam says, halacha gimel, even the first time, right away in the skulim. So how would you ever come to a case of muad? The Rambam gives many scenarios. Number 1, like we just mentioned at the end of halacha aleph, and by the way, there the din is the animal is not niskal, but it made the animal into a muad. Because by the way, we'll see a muad to kill animals is also a muad to kill a person. Number 2, happened to be that the victims were treifas. That means that they were so sick, that people were so sick that they would not even live a year. And then that means just like if a person kills a person, Rahman al-Islam, if they killed a treifa, they will not be put to death in a court, neither will the animal be. So that's why it wasn't killed. Another case will be shaharag, a practical, my shirt, God forbid, killed a person. Reuven Shol killed a person. But you know what? They didn't catch the animal. Uberevius, he was caught. And since de facto, he wasn't caught. So even though he was already, there was enough evidence to be Machayev, Reuven Shor, Skila, but there's still Koifer. Tell you more. Sicken means it mortally wounded 3 people. You understand? At the same time, Oy harag, like we mentioned, that muad laharag can even be behema. Sholosh behemos. All of this is muad lahariga. And now, if it does it again, uba alav b'shalom es hakoifer. And another scenario.
By the way, the shore killed the treifa, and it's not put to death.
No. If it killed a person, that's a treifa, it's not put to death, right? It's not stoned to death.
Why not? It's going to kill somebody else next who's not a treifa.
So put the shirt in a cage. Adam that kills an Adam treifa also won't be put to death. Right. Another case. Adam know that this guy, Reuven, has many shoyrim, guys, many shavarim. Adam know that one of Reuven's shavarim killed. They don't know which one. So none of Reuven's oxen were put to death because the Adam never knew which one. Reuven had any one of his animals killing again.
Exactly
we don't know. It doesn't have to be the same one.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's exactly the same halacha that we learned by the Weaver. But even if you see a blood on the horn, you do not see the ox actually.
Doesn't matter. But now this ox they know did it. This ox they saw did it.
But you don't know which one.
No, I don't need. No, I know the 4th ox. The Adam know this 4th ox. The din will be that the Reuven is chayv to pay koifer, because since he knew that his animals are killing, even though he didn't know which one, he's chayv to guard them better. Even though we don't know whether this one was the same one, we don't need to know if it was the same one. The owners knew that they have in their the ox that is killing 3 times. So then, Okay, all these are scenarios just to make it clear. Really, chayv skila the first time. It's shayach that it could come until you are already at the fourth. Then not only is the animal put to death, also the owners have to pay koifer. Allah chadalan v'zesh olam b'toira. The gamba olav yumas l'fnei shmol amdu. It doesn't mean misa b'dei adam. There's never a time where someone is chayv misa b'dei adam and they can buy their way out by paying koifer. You can never atone for misa b'dei adam. You can always atone for misa b'dei shamayim. Now, what happens indeed? The imnas and koifer. What does the Rambam say over here? Hanerag. This is das of the chachamim. And again, we're going to learn this in Perek Yud Aleph. No, let me use different words. You pay the mei hanerag. Rabbi Shmuel holds if I'm chayiv, Reuven is chayiv misa, and he's buying atonement, so he should pay his value. Chachamim hold no, he's chayiv misa, but you only get atoned if you pay the value of the nerag, and that's the way that Rambam passes. Okay. The person. And the other das of Rabbi Shmuel ben Yehoshua is not the animal. Reuven was fakert. Reuven is chayv misa. God says v'gam all of yumas. Okay, it's not misa b'dei adam. You want to live b'dei shamayim, pay your value, but we don't pass on that way. We pay koifer hanerag. Then the schaperloi. Now v'af apisha koifer kaparuhu. And there's a rule, my friends. Guys, remember chayave kapara ein b'mashken noisan. Guys, we learned this in Kachim. Is if I'm chayv achatas, Beis Din doesn't go into my property and they take a mashkin for me to buy a chatas. Here's an exception. Still, when mashkin and as mission is chayv ba'koifer ba'korchay. Halacha hey. Shorish lo shnei shutim ba'aray. Kol echad mehem mishalem koifer sholein. Not half a koifer. Sharei kol echad mehem tzarech kapara gemura. Even though it's the main nerag, but it's about, the Torah writes, first, v'gam ba'ol of yumas. You want to get atonement, I don't care whose money you have to pay. You don't pay half. You have to pay the whole thing. Halacha v'av, ein goyim l'mdina shel shoyed, ela b'fnei ba'olav. Im hoy loy ba'olam. Aval, im loy hoy loy ba'olam. Like it's a shoyed hamidbar, or it's a shoyed of hegdish, or a shoyed shel gerish mein lo yarshim. There, we don't say, since there is no ba'olam, you cannot try the ox. We don't say that. Im heimis. Then Hareza Nisko. And you know what? Chain Shoyer Isha. Chiddush here is that the Torah says Baal Hashoyer Lashon Zacher. In most cases, like here, we interpret that the Torah speaks for Lashon Zacher, but it doesn't mean to exclude a woman. Same din if it's a Baalas Hashoyer. Another din, if you have a short of the Yisraimim, meaning Yisraimim without apitrupsim, or there were apitrupsim. The short apitrupsim should be so niskolim. But hold on, now I want to ask in this question, in this case. So it's not really the apitrupus is short. The ein apitrupus mishalom misakoifer, because shakoifer kaparu. Even though you're the apitrupus, who's the owner? The cotton. The ein aktana b'charesh rashedim nechiyuv on the level that they need to have kaparu. The ox is put to death. Right? Allah chazayim. Sure, that's he's saying. No, with the chiddush just means sometimes b'nei arayin loy b'nois ar. That I know. Sometimes dabro b'nei Yisrael means not the female gender. Sometimes Chazal know that even though when the Torah speaks b'lashon zachen, it doesn't mean to exclude the female gender. Halacha yud zayin, halacha zayin. Shoy shu treifa. Not who killed the treifa, but the ox is a treifa. Shahar egas hanefesh. The owner was a treifa. The din is ein loy niskol. Kevin is saying what you should eat the animal free. No, you do something else with the animal. You don't stone the animal to death. Shenema v'gam ba'ol of yumas. So we also learn kemisas haba olam kach misas lashor. And v'kevan, Kevan, here's your name. Sheba olav kemei same chashuvim. They are already mace. Ve'ein tzrichem misa. Ve'meile. Wow, the ox is spotted. What? No, I'm skin. Now, what do? You know what you do? They lock the ox up. Don't confuse. There's a din of skila. Yeah, how many times do you have in society, Bechlal, that according to the din trader, you can't kill that person? But we know that this guy is killing people. They can do whatever they want to him, as we'll see when we learn Hilchos Sanhedrin. Okay, right. What
is the short trefa?
Shofar that has a perforation in the lung. And the Ramah Paskins, it's an Ashkenazic ox, and the Ramah Paskins, that makes it into a treif. Okay, halacha ches. Now, so guys, you have Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Okay, the dog belongs to Reuven. Shimon takes Reuven's dog, not his own dog, and Shimon incites Reuven's dog against Levi, and the dog killed Levi. So first of all, the kelev is not niskal. You know what we learned yesterday? Remember in the sports that if the oxen that are used in Spain, those Rishoyim, for sport, if they end up goring, they're not chayav misa. They didn't gore; they were defending themselves. If someone instigated the kelev is not chayav skila. V'chein im giravay behemer chayav argu. If he sets another animal, not only a kelev, okay. Aval, the one exception. No, the animal is not killed if it was instigated. The one exception is a nachash. Aval im shisavay nachash. Bafilu shichaboy means that Shimon took Reuven's snake, guys, and Shimon put its teeth on the arm of Levi. In other words, not stam inside it. You would argue the din is hanachash niskal. Why? Because there was a certain act of expelling the samhamavis that is done by the nachash.
You don't say it's his nature?
Of course it's its nature, but it's its nature, so you kill it. Masha Enkein, if Shimon took Reuven's dog and it raged on the dog, and in reaction, it's called a reaction, not an initiation. Now, the Rambam is not saying he's spotted from God, but Beis Din cannot do anything to him because it didn't do it. We don't view the Nachash as a stick. Like if Reuven, God forbid, uses a stick and he beats Shimon to death. Reuven is chayiv. The Nachash has its own thing. Right? Halacha test.
I'm sorry, Rabbi. The first case, he gets execution by the court?
We're not...
the dog.
The dog doesn't.
No, the owner.
Yes, the guy who did it, not the owner. The guy who did it. We view all animals as an instrument other than the nachash. Halacha test. How amazing in it. And punkt how the Shugach Prat is, the nachash was the creature that God turned into a stick. When it's a stick, it's an instrument. When it's a nachash, it's a metzias. But that's the whole the minor of the Alter Rebbe. But klipa. Okay, right. Halacha test. Another detail. We're judging the animal. But every word is gold. What are we excluding? Many things. Shor wanted to kill a behemoth. Guys, a shor killing a behemoth is not going to be chayv skila. It's going to be chayv to pay. Chatzi nezik shalom, not skila. And instead, it missed the behemoth. It got to Adam, or even more. Nischav and lenachri, as we learned at the end of Halacha Aleph, Harig Yisrael, or nischav l'minafalim. It intended to gore a already stillborn child. We're judging the ox. But 1 second. It killed. So now we're going to start with scenarios, like I mentioned in the intro, where the animal won't be niskal, but the owner still has to pay koifer. Another detail. If my animal kills an eved, there's a knas of paying 30 shkolim. If my animal is a muad, I have to pay the 30 shkolim. He killed shaloi b'kavana. Hoyel hu muad lezeh. The din of koifer is not connected to kavana. The din of skila is connected to kavana. Halacha yud hoyel muad lipoil al b'nei yodam aboyros. My animal is a muad to jump on people when they are in the pit, and it saw a vegetable in the pit. And here it didn't even do damage. It just wanted to eat the vegetable. Turned out that there was Adam V'meis. Right? So what do we have? There was no kavana to kill, but my animal was already a muad to jump on a person in a void. That's what the animal liked to do. It liked to knock on walls to see how the wall falls and kills people. This time, it had an itch on the back. A whole different kavana. and it ended up again, even in these cases, if there was no kavanah to kill him, now if the muad chayv koifer. Now, by the way, how do you know what the kavanah of the animal is? This is great. He says, Gavaldik. The animal is rubbing its back, and the wall fell. Did it still then rub its back? If his hana was killing, then it would have been satisfied. If it's still rubbing the back after the stones killed the person, is araya that it was never, it wasn't about killing. Other times, not now. Now it was about the itch in the back. Animal rights. People who criticize. You see how much the Torah, we're only going to judge the ox only if the ox had kavan. That's it. Halacha yudalef. Ein haba olam mishalma mesakoifen. Another din. At shetamis behentam chutz mireshusar. Another very important din. Avalam emes mireshus hamazik. Even though the opposite, even though regarding the din of skila, who cares where it happened? Avapishu skila. Even if the animal was a muad, the owners are patim in akoifen ketzad. Hanichnas l'chatzar shel balabai shloi b'reshusay. Beware, dog. Some chacham went in there. Even if he's going there to collect a salary, he's going to collect a choy. He has some rights to be there. But then on the gacha yishoy shel balabai is v'meis hashoy b'skila. Let's go further. Omad the Pesach balabayis. And the balabai says, yeah. What does that mean? This is so good. When I knock on your door, hello, and you say, yeah, what does yeah mean? Not yeah, enter. Yeah, wait, I know you're here. I'm going to come to you. Not more than that. The nichnas. And then the nogache shori shabalabais, harei habo olam astil perturim. She'ein mashma hein elo amoid b'mkoimcha ad shadaber imcha. You have to know what yes means. Yes means yes doesn't mean no, but yes doesn't mean yes enter. It means yes. Halacha yud beis. Halacha yud gimel. Hey, Moshe nechmas lachatzar nizak kum fakert. Reuven's animal entered Chatzar Nizak and Vidor Salgabatinik Chilucha and Regel, Nebach and Vaharaksu. Guys, Habaol and Mishalma Mesa Koifer. What's the Chiddush? What did we say? That you only pay Koifer, guys, by a muad. Now let's go back to the beginning of Niskei Maming. I think it was even in Perek Rishon. We said that Shein and Regel is muad mitchilasan. So they're muad. Sharegel muad Salgabatinik Chilucha. And over the Shusan Nizak Chayv, Afal Shein Varegel, Kamashin is in Mamish Gaval. You got all of the negatives. So the animal is nisko, and the balam. If it killed shaloi bekavana, the animal is not put to death. But if it's a muad, the owners have to pay koifer. All the scenarios. If you had a tam shehemis beloy kavana, nisht, right? So not nisa, not mina koifer. Even schaben lahamis by a tam, that will be the case where the animal is nisko. And and also, like we mentioned, you're only chayiv to pay the knas of 30 shkalim that we'll learn a whole chapter about only when the animal was a muad. A kam that killed an evet is pater from the knas altogether. Now, 1 second. Does it mean pater v'leiklum? So the Rambam writes here, Yirali, sha'afalpi, that we just mentioned, that a tam that killed with bekavana means the animal is being put to death. An evet or a shivcha. Even though, yeah, you're right, just like koifet is only by a muad, the knas by a ever is only by a muad. You're putted from the knas. Putted from the knas, dafka in this case, shaloi bekavana, which means what? The animal will not be put to death. Mishalem chatzi demei ha'eved or demei ha'shivcha migufay. Or it's if the animal is put to death, Avraham, you can't get money from such an animal. The animal becomes like Asr Bano. I want you to know. An animal that's put to death, but if the animal is not going to be put to death, so it has value. If it has value, the Rambam says it should not be different than any kam that's mazik. At least the chatziness should come. Remember this. When we go later to the dinim of an animal that killed an eved or shivcha. Today's third Perek Yud Aleph. So we already established the din that if my animal, that's a muad laharok, God forbid, kills yet a person, not only again is the animal chayiv skila, but here, since the owner knew that this animal, we had a case, if a Reuven owns animals and from his animals three times death happened, not the same one. The onus of Shmira is so high that if the animal killed again, the Torah uses very strong words, for Gamba all of you must, but for Im Koifer Yushas Allah, but Nasam Pidya Nafshi. So the Rambam begins the chapter by saying, what exactly is this Pidya Nafshi? What's this atonement fee? Normally, Pidya Nafshi, if I'm on the line and I'm atoning the grace of me, then I have to pay my value. We don't paskin that way. We paskin, the Rambam paskins like the Chachamim, that the koifet is for me, but the value of the koifet is the may nizak. What's going to happen if the animal killed and afterwards the owner was magdish or mafkir the animal? What's going to happen if someone's pregnant animal killed, going back a little bit to Pedic test, or better, someone's animal killed and then it got pregnant? What do you do now? In other words, are you going to be soikel the pregnant mother? And many other such scenarios. Pedic Yud Aleph has 13 halachas, beginning with halacha Aleph. First of all, Kamu Hu HaKoifer. And says the Rambam, Kamoi Sheyiru Hadayonim Shehu Demei Hanerag. Hakol Lefi Shavi Yoshel Neherag. Yichap not them, the owner. Shenemar Kechol Asher Yushas Olav. And Kechol Asher Yushas Olav means that it's done Kefi Kamoi Sheyiru Hadayonim. But the Dayonim will be the Mei Hanerag. I want to just say Oisius quickly. Like we mentioned in the beginning of Hilchos Niske Mamain, the Rambam says that if my animal does damage, I'm chayiv. I mean, the Torah says, Bal Hashor Yishalim, but the Rambam writes the words, Memoinoi Hizik. And even though clearly part of it is Sholoi Shamar, the Rambam didn't begin with those words. Other Rishonim emphasize from the root, why am I chayiv to pay Sholoi Shamar? What's the difference if the ikid is because my money damaged versus if Sholoi Shamar? The answer is that if my responsibility is because I didn't guard, I'm a little bit more removed from the damage. When did I not guard it? Prior to the damage. If we say the Iker Chiv is because Mamoino Yizik, my mammon can be like my hand, like my shliach. It makes the owner more directly involved in the damage. Sit with that. Many Rishonim, not the Rambam, links the machloikas between the Chachamim and Rabbi Shmuel Benoit Shel Rabbi Yochanan ben Beruka in this question. Why would you have to pay the Mei Mazik or the Mei Nizak? The Mei, I'll tell you why. If, let's go with this logic. If Mamoina Hizik means that when my ox killed, the owner killed. Makes more sense for the owner taka to be chayiv mis. Taka chayiv mis. The more he's chayiv mis, so the more he has to redeem his value. If his responsibility is shaloi shamar, his shaloi shamar could have resulted in nothing. His shaloi shamar could have only resulted in damage. It's the same shaloi shamar. It's a little bit more removed. Then maybe he should chayiv misa. It makes more sense to say you paid the main nerak. What the Rambam does is he begins mamoino hizik, and still he paskins that you have to pay only the main nerak. Okay, let's go back. Who haknas hakotzu b'Torah, which is, guys, remember we learned in the last chapter only when it's a muad. But here, how much do you pay? It's not about how much the slave is worth. All avodim will have the same knas, which is shloishim sel kesav yafa. That means fine silver, not the fake silver. Now let's go into a nuance. Any eved that was already freed, but there's two parts of freedom, guys. There is a dinah de mamoina, and then you need pasha to get to be legally free. Even though you gave him his freedom, anyway, knas. He's not ben choiden, but there's no knas. Hoil ve'enloi adam, because he was set lecheros. They give the koifer. Normally, you give the koifer, guys, to the one who was damaged. The nizak got killed. So who do you give it? Liyorshe hanerek. Now comes a big thing. We know, guys, that a man is yoidish his wife. But he can only be yodesh his wife that which his wife owned while she was alive. So if a woman got killed by an animal, the chiyuv to pay only was chal because she got killed, after she got killed. Even though this money is because of her death, the husband doesn't yarshan that. Because the husband only yarshans something that she was muhzakin, not ra'uyin. Another day. Hamis as mishatzi ever bichatzi ben choyden. So then noisen chatzi aknas laraboy. Chatzi ha'acher rolitein. Theoretically, you have to give it. Ve'emi yikochenu. Therefore, the mazik is zoicha. The mazik won't pay more than half. Halachim. Shoshan isha and the yotzel yilodeha. Which means what? Guys? That the owner has chayiv koifer. And what did the Rambam paskin? Chevra halt kop. What's koifer? The may hanerag. Who's the nerag? A mother. The fetus. Haba olam turum and meiveladas. Shelechiva toida the meiveladas. Ella adam. Wow. Okay. No, it's not a full-fledged. This whole question sometimes has a full din of Adam. When it comes to money, doesn't have a din of Adam. Halacha daled. Nagach shivcha, in contrast, and v'yatzir yolodeha, then mishalom the meivelados. Why? That's different. Shezek mishu nagach chamoy meuberes. Imoyatam mishalom chatzi the meivelados migufay. Halacha hey ketzat shaman oisan. Oim dem kama hoisa shivcha zu shava kishroisim meuberes. The kami yishava ato, the noisan liba oleh hapchos oichetzioi. The im eres das hashivcha, neshalom ha koifer hakotzav atleidom. Bilvad, kamay shubayarno, which by the way, just to make it clear, the koifer there of a shivcha is not the main nerag, it's the 30 shkol. And not the meivelodois, as we just said, halachava. It wanted knaka behema. The noka chasa adam. Now, what did we learn in the previous chapter? That as far as skila is concerned, you needed to have kavana laharig adam. Here, afapish imim misoi patur k'moy. Right? That's what we learned in Perek Yud. Yeah, but im chavaboy chayiv benezek. This, did he have kavana or not, is only if he's going to get cycled, not for damages. Im tamu mishalom chatzin nezek migufay. Imuad nezek shalom. Okay, guys, two things. It killed a man, and then it did damage. I don't care if the damage, Rabbi Chaim, was done to another man or to an animal. You have to halk up. A shoir that killed, chayev skila. Now it did damage. So done an oisen did in the fashas, the einan done an oisen did in momentus. Why not? Because that we're speaking about atam. Atam, your goiva, migufay. The moment it killed, chayiv skila. Chayiv skila is nothing worth. You can't even have enough from it. So you can't get the money here. That's because tam is mishala migufay. The goof of the animal is already chayiv skila because it killed first. Even though you didn't do the din toida yet, but that's the seder. First, now, if it was a mu'at shehem is vehizik, that's different. Because the owner of the mu'at, the owner is chayiv. So the right thing is first resolve the din of the mamoin. So don't erase it in the moments, and then v'chayzer and then in the fashos. And by the way, and if he'll be found guilty, then the axe will be stoned. Called move the din in the fashos tchilam. Even if they did in the fashos, even if nigmar dinoi, chayzer and I said in the moments. And the halacha ches umehechen mishtalim. So here we go. Min hashvach. Right, this is going back to the last case. The animal was a muad. They judged din in a fashis. Now they're judging din in maminis. Min hashvach shishbiach birdiyosei achashelik madinoi. One second. No.
He was charged he had a team, he worked for whatever profit that ox after will judge.
After
That's what you pay out.
Yeah, but why can't you just collect from the owner's property? So there's another detail that I'm missing over here, that since you judged him, lahariga, maybe he doesn't have owners anymore. He has no ba'alim, so he has to provide the money. How can he provide the money? Make him work, and from the salary you pay. Shekiv and shenikmar dil very good. The Rambam writes, like, why can't you just collect from the owner? Shekiv and shenikmar dil l'skila ein loy ba'alim. I knew it because I learned this yesterday. Don't be so yafeh. She's chayva, you would have remembered quicker. I forgot it until now. She's chayva in a zakov. Now, the nudin in the fasha is ubarach ain't done in oisay dinim amenes. Why? Makes sense. Because now that we established that once you paskin the animal is l'skila yakir, you cannot collect the money from the owners. You can only collect the money from the work that this ox. If this ox is not here, then there's nothing to do. Halacha tes. Shoy shehemis esa adam. Guys, let me add the words nigmar dinoi. The Rambam's going to write it later. It's very important. It killed a person. The nigmar dinoi. They paskin skila, and now v'hikdush ba'alaf. Like we just said, if nigmar dinoi in halacha ches means that ein loy ba'alim goes all the way. It's not mine to be magdash it. Ein kaddish. Similarly, and if I sold it, ein machor. I'll tell you better. No, it's imagine I'm the shomer. While I was shomering your animal, the animal killed, went to a din, nigmar dinoi, and I gave it back. And I'm telling the owner, I'll give you back your ox. And therefore, I don't care that while I was guarding it, Beis Din was machayiv et misa. After nigmar dinoi, it's not called a chazara, which means that I'm going to be chayiv to compensate the owner, which makes sense. Another din, guys, once nigmar dinoi, that's another din. The shoyr haniskel is asur bahana. Asur bahana means that even if it was slaughtered, not only can you not eat it, it's asur, it continues, doesn't help. Sorry, asur bahana. But all of this is because nigmar dinoi. And in contrast, the Rambam is going to write, let's go case by case by case. You know what that means, Yakir? It means, now this ox, it has to be judged to death. But if someone had hana from the ox prior to that, chayiv meila. Okay, so let me say like this, that if the guy that acquired it did work with it, like we learned before, did work with the animal, like we learned in Allah Ches, and the animal made money, then nigmar dinoi, at least he chab that. That's his money, because he owned the animal prior to the gemar din. If it was sold, machur. That's what we say, harei shor chalafanach. Then, since you cannot stand the ox on trial, is not only mutar ba'ana, mutar ba'achila. Does that mean that if a person wants to, what do they call it over here, the hack, the din? Yeah, so what? Okay, halacha. Now, guys, it got mixed with other shvarim. Kulam pturim lefisha ein goyim dina shol shvar elo b'fnei asher kedina other. However, if nigmar dinoi. Here's the guys, davar chashuv, which is a living thing, is never batal. Afilu be'elef kulam niskalim v'nikbarim basurim bano. Kedin kol be'eman niskales. You better make sure that once the ox was sentenced to skila, right away cycle it. Davar chashuv ain't never batal. Halacha yudal. Now let's go weiter. Chavre pada meuberes shemisa sa'adam. It gored, it killed while it was pregnant. Guys, if you remember in the beginning of Pedic test, what did we learn? That a behema kam meuberes that was mazik, you can be goyva the chatzi nezek from the uber also. Consistent. That means who is the killer? Also the fetus of the animal has to be put to death. The chain kol behema meuberes shenevda ba'aveda, an aveda for which the animal should be put to death. So then, yeah, we consider the fetus to be part of the guilty party. Harei ubra kamaya, meaning we say he ve'ubara nakha. We say if someone acted an act of bestiality, He ubara nirba'a.
Interesting.
1 sec. And therefore, there's no doubt that we don't wait for the animal to be born. Fakir, the fetus has to be put to death also. What's interesting?
That when it comes to fetus, that was part of the cow, whatever that was, we passing against the fetus. But when it comes to a cow that was pregnant and got hurt, without asking for the fetus.
We paskin for the fetus. We go back to a Pedic test. There are certain exceptions, but in principle, we paskin for the fetus. But we paskin for the fetus. We don't evaluate each one separately, but there's going to be a payment for it. That's different. Okay, now halacha yud beis not kavihimisa. Now let's go like this. A mother cow was noiga and it killed. What's the din? Really, you should have taken it into a Sanhedrin. Until they kratzed around to take it to a Sanhedrin, the cow got busy, the cow got pregnant. Now that fetus did not participate. Now 1 second. When did they take it to the din Torah? First of all, it got pregnant. And the yolda koidem gemardin. That means that the fetus was not in the mother when it did the act of killing. The fetus was never judged. So then there's no problem. Then Velada completely mutter. Oh, guys, there's a Shas Negicha, Shas Hamad Badin. The Ubar was not present, not here, not there. But Halkov, the Im Yolda Achar Gemardin. That means that they judged the mother when it was pregnant and they paskin skila. Now we say Velada Asur. Yakir, Velada Asur, not cycled. It's going to be put to death, but not through skila. Why is it asur? Because shaha'ubar yarachim. Now, like I mentioned, asur doesn't mean cycling. But you know what they would do to it? They would lock it in a place until it died. That halacha now will go again if this arbam, because of the din that we learned in halacha yud, right? That davar balchai is never bottled. And therefore, in this Arab blood zabacherim koinsin as kulam bekipa, achi yamusu, all of them, but what not skila. And the final halacha yud gimel shoyer haniskal. Listen to this. In other words, the based in paskin, you ox, you're going to be stoned to death. And then shahus mu'edav. So first of all, what do you do to these eidim zayimim? Normally the rule is basisam loi kasher zamam. We'll get to there. What do you do to them? We're not focusing on the punishment to the eidim zayimim. We're focusing on an interesting halacha that when an owner of an animal, from his perspective, the animal was paskin to be cycled, and you can't even have hana. You have to bury the animal. He's mafkar the animal. He gives up ownership. Now, if even though the eidim became zoyimim, which means that now the animal is permissible, the owner is not the owner anymore. Kol hakoyden by Zachac. What's the logic? Shaharei mishen nigmar dinoi hivkiru ba'alav. Now, guys, it's very important. What would be the counter argument? He did it b'ta'us. It doesn't matter. No, the Torah really believes the second group of eidim. Turns out the whole thing was a mistake. Doesn't matter. He did hefker because he gave up hope. Now, if the owner knew the eidim are lying, then the owner always had hope that it's going to be overturned. But another thing, they testified another reason why an animal will be cycled to death, that the owner of the animal committed the bestiality. We don't say the owner gave up hope if the owner knew it was a lie. And big difference. It's not about the psak din of the Sanhedrin cycle. It's about how the owner felt when there was such a psak din. Did he give up ownership or did he not give up ownership? If Reuven is accused of committing bestiality with his shoy and Reuven knows it's a lie, even though the shoy was sentenced to the skila, Reuven knew it's a lie. And he knows she'elu edi sheker. He's actually being miyachal lahazimam. The owner is planning to figure out how to show to base on their lives. And therefore, even though it wasn't through his efforts, it came from left field, doesn't matter. Lo yifker. L'chaim, to be continued. Ah.